Welcome back. I'm trying not to stand in front of the light, so hopefully you can hear me. I've got most of it working. I think I've even got my unusual lead screws dialed in. First thing I'm going to do is move them a little bit. So that's the Z-axis or Z-axis, depending on where you are. Now you might be hearing it whistle a bit. That's because I slowed the speeds down a little bit so I can dial it in. But I think I'm going to be getting rid of these PLA solid couplers. I think I'm going to either print some sort of PLA device that has a little bit of play in it, or I'll replace them with rubber tubing. And let's just have a look. Here's the good old X. I'm in the way a little bit. See if I can throw some extra light on the scene. I don't know that I can. I'll try. Yeah, I don't think that light makes much of a difference. But what we can do is run the auto home, which actually works as expected now. There we go, we're home. Still got to put the heat bed net on, and I'm probably going to set it up to run without the heat bed powered up at first, and just try some PLA. And I've got to lock in here the lead screw and the nuts down there. They'll move a little bit, and again deal with this. But overall, it's working, and hopefully this hasn't jumped in and out, and hopefully it's caught some audio. So it's working. I got that set. I need to double check my calibration on the lead screw, but what I did do was set up a marker, actually on the one you can't see over here. Maybe I'll come up here. What I did is I set a set of locking nuts at the top, and then I moved this down a certain number of counts, and I brought it down to about 20 or 30. I can't remember, I think I did 10, 20, and 30, and then I moved this down and then measured the gap to get the space, and it's 1.26 millimeters per turn, whatever type of shaft that is. Let's get some extra light over here. Whoa! I dropped a ruler. That's just the ramps right now to fit the Z-axis stepper motor cables in. I had to actually split the little connector off it and do some custom, sort of like a custom made end with heat shrink and hot glue, and the other ones are just fine. Actually, just check. It's not too bad. Just slightly warmer than my finger. And that fan is temporary. That's actually one of my fume extracting fans for when I'm doing soldering. And then I got the power cable coming back out of this, and each side supplies, oh, I forget now. It supplies a fair amount. The 12 volt, yeah. Both 12 volt rails supply 18 amps. So it should be pretty good. And of course that's just Marlin on there, but I did go in and edit firmware. You can see my mount is pretty simple. It's just some of that steel tape for hanging plumbing and whatnot, brass standoffs, styrene spacer, and M3 screws hold it, one on each side. The cable is just zip tied for cable management. You go down here, that's a cable tie, one on the bottom and one on the top, push down to make like a vertical clamp to hold this board down, because this board the pin spacing isn't quite right for ramps, and it'll slowly come up. So as soon as I put that in there, it's locked on good. I just use zip ties and sticky zip tie anchors cut in half at the bottom. Plenty good. I might come back and put screws in that, and then when I get this all set up, I will do some cable management, get it all nice and tucked underneath, and maybe put a more permanent box on that. Like I said, probably one of those plastic Ferrero Rocher covers with a fan. I got a couple old GPU fans, I think. It'll fit nicely right on the top, especially if you can get those wires bent down over that way. And I don't really want to move them right now while it's powered up. Yep, and that's that little end stop that I printed the other day. This one right here does the X. There's one hidden for the Y back there. And I'm not terribly happy with the Z one. It does work, but I think I want to move one over to this side and then make a device coming off the side of this with a screw, so I can finally adjust the Z height so that I get so I can very carefully set the height of the hot end above the final print surface. And yeah, I think it's oh yeah, I got to mount the extruder. It's probably going to be mounted on the side. I'll probably have a piece of wood like that piece of wood screwed onto the side, and it'll be right there, giving this is the Teflon tube for it, for the Bowden. And that'll give the Bowden lots of reach, I think. We'll see. And who knows? I got it moving now. Still got to do the heat stuff, but I might have this printing PLA by next weekend. Maybe sooner, we'll see. Anyhow, that's the ramps control set up. Most of this is all mechanically functioning now. A little bit of more refinement and work to be done here. Capturing washer needs to go on the top here, and on that side, as you can see, this one's come up just a touch. Should be flush, and it's just a bit higher than flush. These screws on the side provide friction, but not really enough. They need to be notched. And then a capture washer on the top, which will hold in. A capture washer held in by this screw will stop this bushing from ever slipping out and that nut from ever popping up. And again, replace those. So anyhow, hopefully this recorded my voice. I'm not sure. I don't really have time tonight to re-overdub it, so we'll just go with that. And yeah, so that's the ramps working. And I'm just going to put this light down. Gotta remember to get that ruler that fell behind the freezer. The power switch is going to be installed nice and up front. It's just one from an old external hard drive enclosure. I had a bunch of them, and you just do that. Now that main fan there was power tapped off one of these. This connector is in line with one of the two 12-volt rails, and each of the 12-volt rails has 3 small conductors that get put down into bigger conductors and these gray wires, and they're basically household. Those are basically computer PC cables, 2 of them, and I figure they're good for about 10 amps each. So actually probably 15 amps, but I'd actually even say. Never looked at that. I can't see it. It's too. Can't read it. I'll have to look at it. I'll have to see. Anyhow, let's not drag it anymore. If there's any questions or comments or anything on that setup or any of that, as usual, put them below. Like if you like, and subscribe if you like my kind of crazy inventions. And thanks for watching.